seeking the acceptance of Allah only and not the praise of the people. So Alhamdulillah, we are grateful to Allah that we have been guided to Al-Islam, because truly it is the greatest endowment. And we are happy and grateful that we have the knowledge of Ahlus Sunnati wal Jama'ah, which is the saved group that connects us back to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that connection to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the only way for us to have the information that we need so that we can make it to paradise, so that we can walk on the straight path, the path that was revealed to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the path of salvation. And we would not have been guided to that path were it not for the guidance from Allah, the creator of the universe. So we are grateful and happy for that. So we're going to continue on with the blessed sessions of knowledge. We're going to be having a variety. So we'll have today, we'll be doing something called Treasures of Ramadan. And then the other times we'll do the book, The Clear Statement. For those of you that were expecting that tonight and brought the book, I do apologize, but definitely bring the book every single time. Maybe we'll only do the treasures once out of the week, but we'll do the rest of the lessons in the clear statement. So bear with us while we get through that. There is a great benefit in having a variety of lessons so that the benefit would be diverse. Alhamdulillah. So while we are in Ramadan, we said that the gates of heaven, the gates of paradise are opened, and we said that the devils are chained. So this offers the individual, the Muslim, an opportunity to excel in doing good deeds, because he would not be distracted by those evil influences. So we mentioned last time in our Treasures series that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that when Ramadan would come around, he would encourage the companions and he would get them excited and he would get them energized and he would get them excuse me, he would get them to feel the excitement of Ramadan starting. And so this is something good for us to do as well. So definitely you are encouraged to decorate your home, to put the signs of Ramadan, lights, maybe posters, any things that give that mood and air of festivity around Ramadan. And that's something that it's good for the children. It's also good for yourselves as well, to have that type of environment where you have this happiness and this joy that is connected to the good things and to the praised issues. Because in this world, the things that are praised and the things that are celebrated are usually bad things, and things that are not beneficial for the human being, and things that are sinful, and things that are evil. So for us as Muslim, to do it for the things that something that we're encouraged to do. So do not be discouraged from people that say, oh, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't do it, so we can't do it, or the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't do that, so we won't be able to do something like that. No, rather, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he did encourage the companions, and he did make them feel happy that Ramadan is in. So Ramadan is known as the month of blessings and as the month of mercy and the month of good deeds. And we are encouraged in Islam to accumulate the good deeds, especially during Ramadan, because the reward is multiplied during Ramadan. And so among the things that the Prophet ﷺ said, like we mentioned, إِذَا دَخَلَ رَمَضَانَ فُتِّحَتْ أَبْوَابُ الْجَنَّةِ وَغُلِّقَتْ أَبْوَابُ النَّارِ وَسُلْسِلَتِ الشَّيَاطِينِ. And in another narration it says, وَيُنَادِي مُنَادٍ يَا بَاغِيَ الْخَيْرِ أَقْبِلْ وَيَا بَاغِيَ الشَّرِّ أَقْصِرْ وَلِلَّهِ عُتَقَاءُ مِنَ النَّارِ وَذَلِكَ كُلَّ لَيْلَةٍ. رواه الترمذي وابن ماجه. So the Prophet ﷺ in this hadith, he sent a great message. He said, Ramadan, when Ramadan begins, the gates of paradise are opened, the gates of hell are closed, and the devils are chained. And in another narration it says that Allah Ta'ala orders an angel to call out and announce, O seeker of goodness, come forth. Seeker of goodness, approach. And O the one who does evil, lessen your evil. Yani minimize your evil. And there are those who are saved from hellfire every single night of Ramadan. Yani what that means is that there would be people who are forgiven every single night of Ramadan, and so they won't be tortured in hell. Ramadan is the month of doing the good deeds and of forgiveness and of being saved from hellfire, and it is the opportunity that you get each year, once a year. So there should be no excuse being made. No person should fall short. No person should be lazy. No person should miss out on this opportunity. Rather, they should have the energy and the motivation and the longing to do the good deeds. And that is the way and the habit of the perfect Muslim. Every time that this blessed month comes, he does more good deeds. He leaves out some sins that he would normally do outside of Ramadan. He would change some aspects of his self to the better. He would, let's say, have more patience towards people, and he would be more generous and more kind towards people. He would be more giving. All of that because of the blessings of Ramadan. And as for the one who falls short and the one who does not take advantage and capitalize on this time, then he has lost a great opportunity, and he has not followed the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. As for the seeker of good, then let him go towards the good deeds. Let him go towards the rewardable acts. And the main, or the first thing of the rewardable acts, or the first of the most rewardable acts, is the obligations, like the prayers, the 5 daily prayers in their time, and then the rest of the good deeds and the rest of the acts of obedience. We should rush to do them and occupy our time with it, because you yourself are in need of that good deed. You yourself, soon enough, will be in need of that one reward, because so that you can be saved. Once you pass into the hereafter, once you pass into the afterlife, you won't be able to accumulate good deeds anymore. You won't be able to get any more reward for your own actions. And when you see the goodness and the benefit of the reward in the hereafter, you would wish that you had spent more time in this life doing good deeds. So now we have that opportunity because we're still alive, and so we should take advantage and capitalize. Now, the greatest good deed and the most important obligation is to have the correct belief in the Creator of the universe and to have the correct belief in the prophets. So we say, this universe has a beginning, and we observe this with our senses. We know the universe has a beginning because the universe changes. It goes from night to day. It goes from hot to cold. There are many things that we observe in this universe that change right before our very eyes. And so since we are parts of this universe and we see these changes occur, then we know that the universe itself has a beginning. Because whatever changes, that means it is a series of events. It's a chain of events. And so whatever is a chain of events, then we know that it has a starting point. Because in order for this present moment to occur, there had to have been previous moments that came to an end. And so this is how we know for sure that the universe has a beginning, even though we weren't there to witness it. Because we witness that it changes right now. Let's give an example that makes it easier to understand. If you're looking at someone and they're sitting down, and then all of a sudden you see them, they stand up. So their state of sitting has ended and their state of standing has now begun. And so we have seen that in order for them to be standing up, they had to have stopped sitting down. In order for, let's say, you to enter into this place, that door that was closed would have to have been opened. So the state of the door being closed ended, and the state of it being opened started. And that's the only way that you can come inside of this building. So this change had to occur. So in order for us to be here right now, in order for us to be here in March 5th, Wednesday, March 5th, then Tuesday, March 4th had to end. If Tuesday, March 4th never ended, we would never get to March 5th. So we're here. That means yesterday had to be done. And the day before that had to be done in order to get to yesterday, etc. So we know that there is a starting point. We can know this using our mind. You don't have to be an astrophysicist or a rocket scientist to know this. It is not a mystic, ambiguous, vague mystery that you can never know. No, it's plain as day. In order for you to be right where you are right now, first you had to open your eyes. Then you had to get out of bed. Then you had to get dressed. Then you had to leave the house. Then you had to turn the ignition on your car. Then you had to put it into drive. And then you had to press the gas, etc. All these events of your daily life that you cannot escape. You're bound by that. You're bound by the food and the water that you need to consume. All of these events, beginnings and ends, a cycle, a loop, but it has to have a beginning. So we know this universe has a beginning because of that. Because it changes, and we ourselves are parts of this universe, and we know about ourselves that we have a beginning, and the universe itself is similar to us in that aspect. And since we share that similarity with the universe, that means that what applies to me applies to the universe. So I'm in need of my existence being given to me. Did you give yourself your existence? No, you did not. None of us here gave ourselves our existence. We didn't choose to be here. We didn't choose our height. We didn't choose our eye color. We didn't choose our skin color. We didn't choose our gender. We didn't choose our parents or the city, the state, the time, the environment that we were born in. Some people were born in a lush palace with all types of luxuries surrounding them, no worries, and full of comforts. And some people were born in the middle of war. We didn't get to choose that. Would any of us here choose to be born in a house that is half destroyed, surrounded by rubble? No. Would one of us here choose to be born in a place that is infested with the poisons of drugs and other social ills? No. Would any of us choose to be born in a situation where we struggle to make ends meet and we struggle to find our next meal? No. If it was up to us, we would be born on a mountain of gold, and we wouldn't have to worry about finances or getting our sustenance, etc. But that's not the reality, is it? If it was up to us, we would make ourselves exist with the quote-unquote perfect features. So you wouldn't have to use makeup and foundation and lipstick and blush and eyeliner. So you wouldn't have to get Botox and a facelift and plastic surgery and this and that. So you wouldn't have to go to the gym and spend an hour bench pressing so you can get toned muscles. If it was up to us, we would look exactly how we wanted to look. But that's not the reality, is it? The reality is that we are in need. The reality is that we are weak. The reality is we are creations. So we know this universe has a beginning because it changes, and so we know that this universe it needs a creator to make it exist. And we know that that creator is unlike us in any way. Why is that? Because had he been like us, had the creator been like us, then what applies to us would apply to him. Then necessity, weakness, impotence, incapability, neediness, all of those things would apply to the Creator. And what is in need and what is weak and what is limited cannot create anything. We cannot bring anything from non-existence into existence. This is the reality. What do we need to do? What do we have to do? We have to work hard. We have to toil. We have to wipe the sweat off our brow just for these simple things like eating food, just for these simple things like having somewhere to sleep at night. You have to get up out of your bed when you want to stay asleep. Instead of sleeping in, you have to wake up at 7 in the morning so that you can clock in. That's the reality. The reality is that you're a creation that's in need. And whatever is like you is a creation that is in need as well. Therefore, since we exist, and since we are not the ones who gave ourselves our existence, and since we know that everything around us has a beginning, we know that the creator of those things is not like us. He has no beginning. He is not attributed with the attributes that we have. We have a body, we have an image, we have a shape, we have a size, we have a color. All of those things are creations. And the creator of those things is not attributed with those things. What applies to us does not apply to the creator. Time and place and space, dimensions, up, down, left, right, in front of and behind, all of that applies to us, but it does not apply to the Creator. That is the correct creed about God. God is the only one without a beginning, and He does not need anything, and everything needs Him. He is unlike anything. He does not resemble anything because He existed eternally without a beginning, and this whole entire universe, with everything that it contains, has a beginning. That means before God created the heavens and the earth, and the humans and the animals, and these dimensions and place and space, and length and width and depth, and particles and the attributes of particles, before God created any of those things, He existed without them. And after He created those things, His existence did not change. This is what our mind tells us. Our mind makes us reach to this conclusion when we use it properly. Because the mind says, if something is like me, that means it has a beginning. And if it has a beginning, that means that it needs someone to make it exist. And so if something needs someone else to make it exist, then it is not God. This is how we know that Jesus is not God. This is how we know that God is not a giant body with a big white beard sitting on a huge chair overlooking the universe. Like how some people think. Some people think, they even go as far as to say, they call God the old man upstairs. Wal-'iyadhu billah. What an ugly statement. But this is because, and this shows you what they have in their hearts, what they think about God. They think about God like they think about themselves, like a human being, like a giant old man. And no one can deny this. There's many like famous paintings supposedly depicting God, and that's how they paint Him. Like Michelangelo in the Sistine Chapel, he has this famous painting where he shows like something that looks like an old man with white hair and long white hair and a beard with like kind of like a muscular body, supposedly holding out their hand like this. And then there's supposedly another man that's close to it trying to touch the finger. That's what they say, that's God. They say that's God. They claim that God is like a body and like a human. And so we say whatever is like that is a creation. Because if something has a body has a beginning, a body is limited, a body is a creation, a body has a size, a body is finite. So whatever is finite, that means that it itself, and that attribute was given to it by someone else. It didn't give it to itself. Just like you know about you didn't give yourself your body, you didn't give yourself this size and this shape, etc. So anything that is like that, for sure, it didn't give itself that. How do we know that using the mind? Because if someone were to say that something created itself, that would mean that they are saying that before this thing existed, it had to pre-exist to make itself exist. And so that is a contradiction in terms. That is something that intellectually is impossible, and whatever is intellectually impossible is judged as falsehood. So the correct creed about the Creator, the correct creed about God, is that He is the only one without a beginning. He's attributed with all proper perfection. He's clear of all imperfection. He is unlike us. He is not like the creation. He does not resemble the creation. He has no similar in any way whatsoever. Whatever you imagine in your mind is not God. Why? Because whatever you imagine is a creation. It's something that has a shape. It's something that has a size. It's something that has a color. It's something that has a dimension. So whatever you imagine in your mind is not God. This is the correct creed about God. And so this Creator, so we can know that about God using our mind. So we can come to this conclusion just by pondering and reflecting and using the reasoning of the sound mind. We can know that. But what about morality? What about right versus wrong? Good versus evil? What about how we should live as human beings? What is the way that we should live? How should society be? Should it be a free-for-all where supposedly they call, under the guise of freedom, they say that you can indulge in any desire that you want? Or is it a different way where someone tells you different stories and different tales, and then you have to believe it without any evidence. What is the right path? What is the proper way? What are we allowed to eat and drink? What are we allowed to wear? What are we allowed to do with our bodies? Should we all get septum piercings? What is the way to go? There's only one way to know. It is not through thinking or reasoning. It is not through philosophizing. There's no way that you can reach this conclusion just using your mind. Rather, it has to be revealed by the Creator of the universe. Because He is the true owner of everything. That means that He is the one who has the absolute authority. So He's the one who judges what is right. He's the one who judges what is wrong. He's the one who judges what is moral, what is immoral. He's the one who judges what is correct, what is incorrect, what is beautiful, what is ugly, what is the rights of the individual and what are not his rights. So this is something that can only be known through the revelation. So who are the ones who received the revelation? The prophets. And so the prophets, they were sent to this earth as a mercy to us, as a mercy for us. Because God is not obligated to do anything. So if He were not to send any prophets and He were to judge us for doing whatever without any guidance, He would not be unjust. There's a hadith from the Prophet ﷺ that says, if God were to punish all the angels and the prophets and torture them in hellfire, He would not be unjust. So what does this tell us? This tells us that God is not questioned about what He does. Rather, we are questioned. And so that is the prophets. They are sent as a mercy to us because they guide us on the straight path. Now, how do we know that the prophets are telling the truth? We know through the miracle. There's something called a miracle, and that miracle is extraordinary, it's supernatural. It breaches the laws of the norm. For example, like bringing someone back from the dead. This is something that is not the norm. When somebody dies, the norm is they don't come back to life. Yani when they die for real, meaning when the soul completely separates from the body. Not when, let's say, they flatline on a heart monitor or something like that. No, that doesn't mean that they died. We're talking about when someone, their soul completely separates from their body. How many people wish that their loved one would come back to life, even if it were for a moment, just so that they can give them one more hug or tell them one last word? But that's not the way it goes here. The norm is once you die, that's it, you stay dead. But when a prophet makes supplication to God, and through that supplication, that dead person comes back to life, then the people who are there to witness that, they know for certain that that prophet is telling the truth. That he is indeed sent by the Creator of the universe to spread this message, to convey this message. So the Creator of the universe sent thousands and thousands of prophets to this world to convey that message, to show us the right path, to show us how we should live and what we should do, and what is right and what is wrong, and what is obedience and what is disobedience. Because there's no way that we can figure it out for our own, because every single person, they have a different mentality. Every single person, they have a different perspective. Every single person has a different preference. So who's to say whose preference should go and whose preference should not go? Coffee or tea, donuts or bagels. Some people say this or that. Which one is right? Which one gets chosen? Cereal or oatmeal? Who's right and who's wrong? The way that you know is through the revealed law. So the Creator of the universe sent thousands and thousands of prophets to this earth with the message of worship God only and with the law. And throughout time that law has differed. There have been different laws for different times, but the final prophet and messenger, the final revelation, the final law that was revealed is the law of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So all the prophets, they came with Islam. All the prophets, they were sent to teach the people, worship the Creator only. Do not worship an idol. Do not worship a statue. Do not worship a creation, and follow the law. So we have to follow Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we have to believe correctly in the Creator. So the one who wants the salvation in the hereafter and wants to be saved from going to hellfire forever, then he has to believe that no one is God except the Creator, and that Muhammad is his messenger, while saying those two statements. So he has that belief in his heart, and he says, no one is God except the Creator, and Muhammad is his messenger, or any statement that has that meaning, and he would become a Muslim, and he would be fulfilling the greatest of all the good deeds, which is to be Muslim. And then after that, after doing that most important and number one good deed, then after that, there is a wide range of good deeds that the Muslim can do, that the Muslim is obligated to do, and so he would climb higher and higher in the spiritual status. Among those good deeds is what we're doing now. Throughout the day, from the dawn, from the Fajr time, up until the sunset, we are in this great act of worship, which is fasting. And so, in brief, what does it mean, fasting? It means to abstain from certain things, to abstain from inserting anything that has a size into the body cavity through an open inlet, to abstain from sexual intercourse, to abstain from inducing vomiting, to abstain from making one's mani come out, and to avoid, or if someone loses their mind for at least a moment during the day, they break their fast. And if someone faints for the whole entire day, their fast won't be valid. But these are the things that they have to avoid. Inserting something into their body that has a size through an open inlet. So mostly that's like eating and drinking. So the Muslim throughout the day, he feels the hunger. He feels the thirst. But he does that for the sake of Allah, because he has that certainty in his heart that this is something that his Creator, that his Lord has made incumbent upon him. And so this act of worship is a great act of worship that God made obligatory upon the Muslims, so that they can fulfill that act during this blessed month of Ramadan every year. And it contains a great reward. Allah Ta'ala revealed in Al-Quran, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصمه ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. This honorable verse of the Quran, 185 of the chapter of Al-Baqarah, which is the second chapter of the Quran, it tells us the great virtue of the month of Ramadan, and it is a time when the Muslim, he gets his good deeds multiplied many times, and it prepares the Muslim, or it encourages the Muslim to do many good deeds. The month of Ramadan is the 9th lunar month, and it is during this month in which the Quran was brought down from the guarded tablet to the first sky. So Angel Gabriel alayhi salam, he was ordered by Allah to take a copy of the Quran down from the guarded tablet and to bring it down to a place called Baytul Izzah in the first heaven. And that occurred during the night of Al-Qadr, during Laylatul Qadr. This is evidenced by the verse Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr, which means that the Quran in its entirety was brought down from the guarded tablet to Baytul Izzah in the first sky, and then after that Angel Gabriel alayhi salam, he descended upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with the Quran part by part over a period of 23 years. This Quran is hudan linnas, which means it is a guidance for the people from misguidance, and it contains the perfection for the human being, and it contains the happiness in this life and in the hereafter, and it contains the verses that guide those who Allah will to be guided to salvation and safety in the hereafter, and it is a separator between truth and falsehood, and it contains goodness for the person in every aspect of their life. And Allah Ta'ala knows best. Inshallah, we'll continue when we have our next gathering. We'll mention more beneficial matters, and we'll encourage each other to do more good deeds and to be better Muslims. Are there any questions about anything? طيب نهلل لا إله إلا الله اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم رب اغفر لي وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات وبارك الله فيكم. السلام عليكم.